Greetings folks, and I hope you've got more than 3 minutes to reach minimum safe distance wherever you are in collecting land. And welcome back to the channel for another 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. And today it's the turn of Hot Toys' take on the Scorched Xenomorph from the 2024 Fede Alvarez directed Alien Romulus. But before we dive in and find out if all that hype is real, I'd like to send a Sulaco-sized shout out to everyone who supported the channel. And please drop a like and hype on this video as it helps other people find Go Figure. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're sure not to miss any of the 1/6 scale content that we've got coming up. So, usual format folks, it'll be box, accessories, figure, then showcase at the end. So let's kick off with this box. And what a huge box it is too. Let's stop it from spinning. It's not particularly wide, as you can see. It's just incredibly tall, as is befitting the figure that's inside. Slipcover design. On the front you've got this shot of the alien's head. It says Alien Romulus, Scorched Xenomorph at the bottom there, Hot Toys movie masterpiece, all done in this red and black scale, super high gloss. There is no way to avoid glare with this, so I apologise from the outset if it's dazzling, but it's probably one of the shiniest Hot Toys boxes I've ever seen. Around the side it says Alien Romulus, Scorched Xenomorph again. Similar thing on the right hand side. On the bottom of the box it just says Alien Romulus, same thing on the top, if I can manhandle the box there. And around the back you've got all the usual credits and warnings there. Don't piss this figure off or it might put a hole in your hull. Let's get this slipcover off without knocking the camera over. It is that big. If I could do this, there we go. And you are greeted with the usual window box underneath. Done in the same red and black design. It says Scorched Xenomorph down the sides here in this high gloss lettering. Around the back, you've got this really nice red and black scale picture of what I'm going to assume is the figure, and it says Scorched Xenomorph again. Really nicely done with this almost sort of 80s video monitor style disruption lines going on, which looks really good. And of course, through the window, you've got the figure itself and all the accessories. Brand new figure, this one, literally just come through the door, so let's do as we always do. Let's crack the seals open, let's dive down onto the table and have a look at everything you get with your Scorched Xenomorph. So, accessories out, what do you get with your Scorched Xenomorph? Not a vast amount, but what you do get looks very good indeed. Let's get the mundane stuff out of the way. You get the usual set of Hot Toys instructions. And if Mr. Go Figure's a bit croaky here, as I mentioned in my previous video, suffering with a man cold at the moment. So if I start coughing and spluttering through this review, please forgive me. Yeah, so if you're wanting help on setting up the base, how to pose, making sure everything's correct, refer to your instructions. Let's put those to one side. Hands. Now, there's a pair already on the figure, and you get another 2, 4, 6 here, so that's 8 hands, 4 pairs in total, the all-important hands. Let's grab a couple at random and have a look at what we're dealing with here. And straight away, I've got to say, out of the box, I was super impressed with these hands. Main reason being they're actually made out of a soft plastic. They're pliable, there's give to them. They're not made out of super solid, easily snapped plastic. So yeah, props to Hot Toys there for going down this route. They're not articulated in any way, but they have got some give to them. Sculpt straight away, very nice. In keeping with this iteration of the Xenomorph, very thin and long digits going on here. Sculpting is really nice. You've got the sculpted in nails, as you can see. The black sections on the knuckles there are all on point, and you've got this sort of copper paint application going on these ribbed exposed sections, both on the back of the hands, on the inside as well. The black sections do come off like a glove a little bit, but that's more sort of stretched skin with these copper pieces being exposed, and it is in keeping with the design of this particular Xenomorph. So yeah, nicely done. The nails on the digits themselves have got a subtle shading on there, so they get darker from the finger out to the tip, and they're that sort of metallic silver color, really nicely done. And you've got all kinds of expressive hands going on here. You've got these sort of splayed hands if you're wanting to pose the figure on all fours. You've got these more sort of menacing, grippy style hands. You've got a neutral one here if you're just wanting him in a museum or vanilla pose. Yeah, so there's plenty to go at here, and all of them sculpted really, really well with some great paint applications. So those are your hands. Let's put those to one side. What else do you get? You get a Facehugger. Now, all done in sculpted plastic, this, and I've got to say, I mean, the Facehugger has changed its iterations throughout the movies, the same way that the Xenomorph has, and I quite like the Alien Romulus iteration, although I'm not the biggest fan of the movie. I don't think it's that good. I am a huge fan of the alien concept, the Giga concept, and seeing the evolution of this monster through the movies. But yeah, great little Facehugger here. He has an articulated tail. So there's a wire running through there, and it's great to see. So you can actually have this guy rearing up. You can have him on the ground scuttling along. Really, you can do what you like with him. Paint applications and sculpt in the hideous section in the center there are suitably gruesome, with the red paint applications with that slight wet look. You've got yellows, you've got greens, you've got browns going on in there, and it all looks excellent, as does the back there. Loving the shading in the crevices there with those washers, and it's got that sort of wet look to it as well, which makes it all the more convincing and screen accurate. In Romulus, they removed the nails from the digits, so there are no nails here, but the legs themselves really nicely painted with some gradiating paint applications on there, and the pièce de résistance here is that they're articulated. And I think this is the first time that Hot Toys have actually given us an articulated Facehugger. Now, you can actually bend these digits all the way out, and I think it's great that you can do this. You can have them curled up, so you could have this on the display as if the Facehugger had just parted company with whoever it had inseminated and died, if you're wanting it belly up. Or alternatively, you could wrap it around another 6-scale figure if you ever thought of what maybe Iron Man might look like with a Facehugger on. You can do that as well. So yeah, great paint applications, loving the bendy tail, loving the articulated legs, and I think this is quite possibly, and I know Hot Toys have had a few pops at Facehuggers throughout the years, I think this is probably one of the best that they've ever given us. So yeah, that's the Facehugger. What else do you get? You get a swap out carapace. Now, the undamaged carapace is on the figure itself. We'll see that when we bring it out. It's a clear plastic with shading in it, and this is the damaged one. And you've got that crack up the side there, which is nicely done, nicely detailed. The light's catching out. There's even some silver dry brushing in there, just a small amount to add to the detail and pick out that damage. And I'm loving the layers that go through there if the light's catching this. Press fit, it's got some clips on either side, so to swap it out, you simply pop the old one off and pop the new one on. Only issue I had, and I don't know whether the light's catching this, I'm going to try and get this as close as I can to camera, and maybe the camera will pick it up. There is a scratch running almost the full length of this carapace itself, all the way down to pretty much down here somewhere, which is a bit disappointing straight out of the box. It's not a deal breaker. I don't think it'll be that obvious in the display, but yeah, just a little bit on the disappointing side. But yeah, that's the swap out the swap out carapace. What else? Now we need to talk. Collectors who've been around a few years, who are Alien fans, will have all encountered, if you bought the big chap, the 6-scale big chap when it was initially released, or if you bought the Alien Warrior when that was initially released, the issues that occurred around the mouth area. I didn't pick up the big chap because I knew about these issues and I wasn't prepared to put up with it, although I did pick up the Alien Warrior. That's not so bad, but the issues were, if you for the uninitiated, is that the mouth itself was articulated, and these sections that run down the side here were made out of rubber. Now, rubber perishes. The jaw was articulated, so if you move that jaw very, very quickly, that rubber would perish and snap. I have the Alien Warrior. It hasn't snapped on those, but I never have the mouth open, and it sort of defeats the object of having an articulated mouth if you can't open it because you think that the sides of it are going to break. So to get round that, Hot Toys, thank the gods, have given us this solid plastic swap out mouthpiece with the mouth fully open. Now, these sections at the side there, they do have some give, but they're not the rubber, they're a soft plastic. Those shouldn't deteriorate, and the overall sculpt, I think, is excellent. The paint applications are great, the sculpting of the flesh around the mouth, really nice. The teeth, very, very well done. They're done in that silver paint application with the brown shading into the gum area. And overall, yeah, I think not only is it an answer to Alien 1/6 scale collectors' dreams to have this kind of mouth, I think it's just been really well done too. So there you have it. After years of demanding, we've finally got the static open mouth. Let's move on to this base. This base, yeah, it's huge, absolutely huge, but we are looking at a very, very big figure here. Now, I do believe, don't quote me on this, but I think this is a repurposed base. I think it's repurposed from the Grogu, life-size Grogu that Hot Toys released. They needed a big base for that, so I mean, I'm not averse to Hot Toys repurposing their bases. They've done it on numerous occasions. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I do like the look of this. It's got some heft to it and some weight. Obviously, it's all done in plastic. Let's start on the bottom. Great to see you have got 5 felt padded feet on the bottom there, which are going to minimize slippage in the display. You've also got a giveaway battery compartment there, but it's actually USB-C powered. There's an on-off switch there as well. On the top, you've got this sort of layered effect, which is obviously meant to replicate maybe the floor of the Romulus and Remus space station itself. On the top, you've got this grid effect. This metallic is plastic, but it's painted to look like metal. Very, very effective with that copper tone to it. And you've got the alien resin secreted all around that they make their nests out of, and it's just very, very nicely done. You've got this silver edging, which is nice, with a touch of weathering going on there, which is really good to see. And you've got the hole for your crotch grabber, which we will come to. As I mentioned, USB-C powered. Let's try this out while we're here. The slot is at the back there. Just simply slot in your lead, and underneath you've got an on-off switch. And let's see how this thing looks. And yeah, we're under some very, very bright white LEDs here, so it's probably not going to be the boldest thing you've ever seen, but yeah, I think when the lights are dim, this is going to work really well. Puts me in mind of their recent Terminator figures with those orange lights coming through that grille underneath, and one of them's actually underneath a couple of them underneath the resin sections, which I think is going to create a really interesting lighting effect. So yes, that's the base. It says Alien Romulus, Scorched Xenomorph on the front. Let's talk about this crotch grabber. Rather interesting. It's a large crotch grabber, this one, because of the size of the figure. Simply slots in the hole, as I mentioned, and it's got an unusual cup at the top. Now, this is because this is going to support the figure more around the top of the legs and the hip area, rather than directly underneath the crotch like we'd see with most 6-scale action figures. So it's been purposed for the unique design of this particular figure. And as always, you simply slot that into the hole there and you are good to go. So that's the base, and very impressive it is too. So without further ado, let's bring out the Scorched Xenomorph. Let's get him on this stand, onto the turntable, and have an up close with him. Okay folks, so here it is. It is the Scorched Xenomorph, straight out of the box, straight onto that rather marvellous stand and onto the turntable. First impressions, I haven't gone for any crazy lighting effects or for any crazy mad poses. We'll save all that for the showcase at the end. I wanted to present this figure in the harsh light of these white LEDs so we could see all the details. But first impressions, I've got to say, are very, very good indeed. Proportions spot on, screen accuracy is there in spades. The paint applications, the sculpting, everything looks absolutely phenomenal for as far as first impressions go. And what it does put me in mind of is the dog alien, the Aliens 3 alien. There are hints of Big Chap in there. Also puts me in mind of the XM Studios Alien, 1/3 Alien diorama that I've got in the collection. I'll put a link to that review at the end of this one, because they went for that more sleek, more feminine look, and that's what I'm getting a really, really strong impression of. And I got that in the film as well. From that super narrow waist to those wide hips, to the shape of the legs, to the way that these feet work, the whole thing gives off a very, very feminine vibe, which I like. I think it looks superb. It really, really does. And yeah, the screen accuracy is most certainly on point. But let's have a look at the details. Let's do as we always do. Let's stop him from spinning. Let's get him off this stand and get up close with him. Or her, as the case may be. Monstrous thing, this figure, absolutely huge, so it's going to take a bit of manhandling, but let's get him off that turntable and get up close. We'll start with these feet. Now, quite original design for these feet. They're more like sort of devil hooves than feet, the way they were designed in Romulus, but I think they've done a cracking job here with the sculpt and paint applications. And the first thing that strikes me, apart from the weight of this figure and the size, is the numerous amounts of colours and the paint applications going on in here. I hope the light's catching this, but you're getting coppers, you're getting greys, you're getting browns, you're getting flecking, you're getting deeper blacks, you're getting hints of blues and greys. This is not a couple of coats of paint and the job's done. I think they've done a cracking job with the paint applications. But back to these feet. Feet are really well articulated. They're on a ball joint here. You've got forward and backward movement in this lower section. This second ankle joint here is static with this sort of protrusion on the back there. And there's this, what I'm going to call rubber sleeve, which actually covers that joint there. How that'll stand the test of time, I suppose we'll find out. Yeah, it's designed to cover that joint there and does an okay job of it. The paint applications on these feet are great. The silver paint applications on these nails, these multiple nails, where they're doubled up over the top of each other. And then you've got the hints of browns and blacks going on in there. And overall, just very, very well done. Moving up, let's talk articulation in these legs, actually, because this joint at the bottom here, I believe, is metal, as is this knee joint here, which is great to see. It's cold to the touch, it's most certainly metal, and you've got a really sturdy double bend going on there, and the leg will go right the way back. Does expose a little bit of the knee joint there, which we'll talk about later on, but overall, yeah, super sturdy joint there, and you really feel like you can play with this figure to your heart's content. The foot itself will move forward, not an awful lot of movement backward because of that sort of flap there, but it'll move side to side, and you've not got much in the way of rocking motion, and it's not a split cut boot design on that foot. Let's move up to these legs and try and get this guy as close into the camera as you can, so you can see the detailing here. Sculpting is excellent, there's no doubt about that. From the minor details to these sort of circles around the kneecap area, moving up to the sort of almost split thigh section with that brassy copper paint application underneath. It overall all has a wet look feel to it, but not too wet. If the light's catching this, you'll see it play off the blue in this sort of studded section running down the inside of the leg here. This section on the thigh here has got brown flecks in it. We'll flip him around the back here. You can see that detailing has continued all the way up the legs there. You do get some exposed knee joint at the back there, but that's not a deal breaker for me. Could have perhaps had a paint application on those joints there, but it would have rubbed off over time when you pose the figure itself. Moving up to the hips. The very feminine hips. Now, I'm going to try and do this. Just move this arm out of the way and try and do this on camera. Now, you've got a full range of motion going on here. This is actually it's a ball joint, but it's one of those ball joints that pops out, if that makes sense. Not dissimilar to what other figures do that? There's some Robocop figures. I think some Iron Man figures have done it as well, although I'm not a big collector of Iron Man figures. But yeah, they will pop out to give you even more articulation. I will pop that out. And they've even painted underneath there Hot Toys if the light's getting into that crevice there. Let's check the articulation here, and this is where things get really, really crazy with this figure. That is the articulation in the leg. Now, in previous iterations of 1/6 scale Alien figures, you barely moved it because that rubber oversuit was just a nightmare, and you knew it was going to split and rip. We've gone to completely the opposite end of the spectrum now, and we've got an Alien that can do this. That is ridiculous. I love it. I think it's fantastic. The posing options that you're going to have here are just, it really is only limited by your own imagination. Into the sort of the groin area now. This is, I think it looks phenomenal. And I'm going to chance my arm and say this is a rubber-like material. I don't want to cast aspersions where they're not due, but this super narrow waist looks phenomenal with this this pipe work here. Now the pipe work itself is done in that same sort of muted copper tones, but they feel like a plastic, but what's underneath here feels like, it does feel like a rubber. I'm going to have to say it. Will that perish over time? I don't know. Down the bottom here feels like the same material as well, but it's stretched over a harder plastic underneath. The reason why there's give in that waist area is for the articulation, which I will try and demonstrate. That's the amount of twist you're going to get there. Now that really, for a figure like this, I think is ridiculously good. Really, to get that amount of waist twist. Obviously you've got the backwards and the forwards as well, not quite as much going on there, but really that is an excellent amount of give. However, I would be a little bit scared about leaving this in a twisted or dynamic pose for any length of time, putting pressure on this abdomen section. Take a quick look around the back. Just really nicely sculpted, and you can see there there's a lot of play in there. There's an air gap there for the movement. How this holds up, it'll be really interesting to see how this holds up. The tail itself, now this is a soft plastic, and once again articulated, got a very, very strong wire going on in here. Really, you can do just about anything with this tail. As I mentioned earlier on, I have the Alien Warrior from Hot Toys. The articulation in that tail, although it was wired, it was just not very good. It doesn't really want to do an awful lot. This one is, once again, the exact opposite. You can double this thing up, you can use it to balance, you can have him resting on it, going over the shoulder, you can really muck about with it. Once again, the sculpting and paint application and detailing running the full length of that tail is excellent. You've got the spike on the end, and it's great to see. It's a really, really soft plastic, so that's not going to break or snap. And you've even got, if I can show this here, get this right into the camera there, you've got these brown and grey flecks going on to pick out the details there and give it that extra level of depth. Great work on that tail. Moving up, the top part of the body, the top part of the torso here, the chest area, is a solid plastic, really nicely painted. Once again, you're getting that contrast in tones in the paint applications, from blacks, that muted copper, these hints of silver in there to pick out the details, and that sort of exo chest skeleton area, and around the back, let's switch around again, you've got the pipes, the 4 pipes, and that rear spike as well, which is a soft plastic as well. Once again, copper paint applications on there, and shades of black, and also that sort of really, really fine flecking, which is pretty much all over. You can see it on the upper arms there. It just gives it that extra depth, and I love the copper tones in the shoulder sections. These almost shoulder pads that run up the over each shoulder here, really beautifully done. This even sculpted increasing there. They're not super smooth. There is, it gives it that overall feel of authenticity, that it's not perfectly smooth. The arms themselves, if I can bring this guy round, and my arm is aching from manhandling this guy. The shoulders, you've got a ball joint here by the feel of it, and once again, the articulation without knocking the lighting over here. His arms will pretty much go out to there, to shoulder height there, which is unheard of in an alien figure from Hot Toys, maybe from NECA, yeah, or another company, but not Hot Toys. And pretty much you've got a 360 swivel right the way around there. Moving down the arms, that paintwork, that detailing is all continued, beautifully done. There's no getting around it. The paint is excellent on this. Coming down to the elbow joints. Now let's just check how this will work. Yeah, double bend at the elbow, so really that arm in conjunction with that shoulder is going to go as high as you want it to go. This is going to be so much fun in the showcase at the end of this video. Running down the forearms there with that exposed muted copper tone yet again, and into the hands. As with the ankles, you've got this I'm praying this isn't rubber. I really am. If there's anybody out there who knows what material this is, it does feel like rubber. I'm going to have to say, I'm going to have to go with rubber. I'm hoping that will stand the test of time. But once again, it's covering the wrist joints there. And I forgot to mention in the accessory section, you do get a couple of swap out wrist pegs as well, which is always useful. And these are the two hands that we didn't look at in the accessory section as well. Issue here, I suppose, for me is these joints at the elbows here. Now, I'm thinking this may very well be the same rubber that they've used on the ankles and the wrists here to cover up the elbow joints. Now, how will that stand the test of time as well? I can't help but think maybe there was a way of doing these elbow joints which would have precluded the use of this kind of material, unless it's something that Hot Toys can guarantee won't crack and flake. If that is rubber, I can see that giving if this is left for too long in a dynamic pose. So yeah, a minor gripe there that Hot Toys didn't figure out a way around that. But let's take a look at the head. Let's drop him down into this gap between the camera and the table and see if we can't have a close-up look at this head. Wow, that I think is amazing. I love this sort of evolution, this iteration of the Romulus alien. Almost has a Venom vibe around the mouth area, particularly when the mouth is open, but the detailing on the side of the head itself is beautiful. There are even hints of purple in there if the camera's picking this up under these lights. There are greys, there are purples and almost silvers, once again that copper colour, darker and lighter, and those pipes, those plastic pipes again. The whole thing looks layered, organic, biomechanical, screen accurate and beautifully done. There is a slight visible seam where the separate mouth goes in, but we'll come to that. Let's just check the head articulation. You've got a fantastic amount of articulation going on here because of the, once again, the softness of the materials that they've used in that neck area. Once again, I would say, how is this going to hold up? Time will tell, but let's just see how this head will move. You've got a decent amount of movement backwards, as you can see, so you can have him looking up. That's only really limited by the full extension of the neck and it meeting the spike at the back there, the spine. You've got a brilliant side to side here because I think the alien figures just look so much better when they've got that slight tilt of the head. Look so much more menacing, but and I've spotted for the first time as well, I think there are even green tones in that neck area there. So yeah, fantastic articulation for a head on an alien figure from Hot Toys. Really next level stuff here. I mean, it'll go pretty much all the way around there and all the way around there. Let's talk about the dome. Now, you've got a translucent plastic running all the way down, and it continues that sort of that ribbed paint effect. If I can just, in actual fact, what I'm going to do here is just dip him down like this and get him a little bit of distance so we can see it in full. Transparent all the way down, well, translucent, not transparent. And if the light's catching that, you can see the detailing underneath there. So it's been sculpted underneath and then the carapace put on top. And just overall a brilliant effect. I did notice straight out of the box, and this is another minor gripe for me. I tried to swap out the carapace. This is the non-battle damage carapace, the unscratched one, and it is an utter nightmare to get this thing off with it being press fitted. I will try and do it on camera, but it just feels like it's going to break whenever I do this, and I've only done it once before, so I'm going to get the instructions tell you to get your finger underneath there and then pop it off. And one side always gets stuck and then feels like it's going to snap, and you have to, and this one is, wow, breathe out. So underneath you have the infamous skull, the skull that was removed from the original Giga design at the behest of Ridley Scott for the first Alien movie, but they've incorporated it here, and you can see the level of sculpting. Now this detailing is actually continued under this translucent piece, but I think they've done a superb job there with the greys and the cracks in the skull area itself, and then even the detailing underneath in that little gap between the two, between the skull and the rest of the head itself. Paint applications are great on that exposed. This is not a look I would go for in my display. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put the damaged carapace back on. Well, this will be the first time this has been on, so it'll be interesting to see if it works. Yeah, snapped on first time. Something I did notice, another little thing I noticed straight out of the box is, and I hope the camera's catching this, there is a gap here. Now, I know Justin, because I checked out his review, has had this issue as well. There is a gap between where the carapace meets the top of the mouth section here, of that mouthpiece. Now, if you squeeze it, it just bounces back. So yeah, that tolerance there is perhaps not perfect. Is that a deal breaker? It might be for some people. I'll try and get this close in so you can see that. But yeah, not quite flush, and I think that's the nature of the material that they've used in this second mouthpiece. Now we're going to take this out. I'm going to try and do this on camera. We haven't had this mouthpiece out yet, so this could get interesting, but you're supposed to just give it a pull, he said confidently. I think you're supposed to maybe take this off first. Let's take this this battle damaged section off and see if we can't get this mouth to come out. Now, this is not wanting to cooperate, so we're going to do this off camera, but yeah, let's cut to mouth change. So, Hot Toys Alien Warrior brought out to sit alongside the Scorched Xenomorph, just to give you a size comparison here. But not just a size comparison, just a comparison of the overall quality, the paint applications, the level of detail. The Alien Warrior is a great figure. I love it. It's fantastic, but it's showing its age. Zero articulation, really, of which to speak. So we can see just how much Hot Toys have come on in their Xenomorph figures. But that being said, I have encountered a major issue with this guy, as you saw before. Now, I wanted to swap out the mouthpiece that's already in there with the static mouthpiece, because I think that's the one I'm going to go with in the display. I think it's sturdier, it's going to last longer, because this mouthpiece has still got those rubber bits at the side there. So any length of time in a dynamic pose with his mouth open, this is going to perish on the side here, and that soft rubber is continued around the mouth, as we mentioned before, pretty much like the original Alien Warrior here. The problem I encountered is, now these mouthpieces are magnetically attached and they have this little peg here. Now, according to the instructions, you just pull down and this mouthpiece should come out, but this one refuses to do that, and it doesn't matter how much pressure I put on it, it will not come out. Now, I don't want to put too much pressure on it because it feels like it's going to break, and also as well, if I put too much pressure on it, I risk damaging that rubber around the mouth area. It's very disappointing. I'm going to try and futz it off camera before the showcase at the end, but if I am unable to remove the mouthpiece, we will have to stick with this one, unfortunately. Yeah, real shame that. It could be a QC issue. I ain't doing it wrong because I've read my instructions, but yeah, does not want to come out. So it is what it is. Forgot to mention as well, in the accessory section, you get this little doohickey, and if you place it in his mouth, it's magnetic and you can pull out the inner jaw as well. That is great. The paint applications are screen accurate. The detailing on there is really good, even down to the little silver teeth there at the end of that inner jaw. Great. But I think what we need to do now is go in for a final verdict on the Scorched Xenomorph, get him in a pose, alter the lighting a little bit, and give him a score out of 10. So it's verdict time on Hot Toys' take on the Scorched Xenomorph from Alien Romulus. And I decided I wanted to put him in one of these crouching poses because I've seen so many vlogger photos, and this just shows how superb the articulation is on this figure, and it is genuinely groundbreaking from Hot Toys, this one. It's got all the look and paint application detailing of a Hot Toys figure with all the articulation of maybe an advanced NECA figure or even more. So yeah, I think the articulation is stunning, and I really wanted to show that off here, but we need to go in for a final verdict on this guy. Let's start with the plus sides. Well, we've already covered the articulation. Let's cover this base. Really, really nice. Loving this base. Love the light up feature. Love the detailing. I think it looks suitably grotesque with all that secreted resin, and it fits the figure perfectly. Let's talk about articulation once more. Yeah, we've already said that. Superb. Absolutely superb. The paint applications and attention to detailing are phenomenal, right up to the the minute speckling in the paint applications to the sculpting of the pipes and all the detailing is absolutely nailed on. Love that tail. The wire is superb. The softness of the plastic makes it even more easy to work with. The screen accuracy is there in spades. It's got that venom, feminine look to it, which is obvious in the film, and that I love the evolution of the Xenomorph into this more live and more beautiful look. So overall, yeah, I think a phenomenal piece of work here from Hot Toys, with some problems. Let's talk about the problems. Number one, I found from straight out of the box that left leg there is a little bit on the loose side. The hip joint there isn't as sturdy as it should be, and that leg isn't supporting as well as it should, unfortunately. The knee and the ankle joint are great because they're made of metal, but unfortunately, mine anyway, the hip joint is a little bit on the loose side. What else? That rubber, and I'm going to call it rubber. If I'm getting it wrong, I do apologize, but it feels like rubber to me. That rubber in the elbow joint there, I get a distinct feeling that is not going to stand the test of time, and I'm a little bit concerned about that material they've used in the abdomen section, as I mentioned before, how that might deteriorate. My biggest issue with this figure is that swap out mouth plate, as we mentioned before. I have tried and tried again off camera to get this the static mouthpiece in there, and it isn't happening, just not happening, unfortunately. This one flatly refuses to come out. Don't know whether that's a QC issue, what issue that is, but it's just not happening. So yeah, I'm stuck with this particular mouth, which means I can't have the mouth open for any length of time, as I mentioned before, because of those tendrils at the side of the mouth there will deteriorate, which sort of defeats the object of me getting this figure. Well, not entirely, but it really is a downside for me, that one. Also, as well, the swap out carapace. Now, they could have come up with a better solution, I think, Hot Toys there. Press fitting with those small plastic clips is not ideal. Every time you take it off, or at least when I take it off, I feel like I'm going to break it. So yeah, maybe a magnet solution there would have been better. So yeah, it's not ideal, and it also suffers with that problem that I mentioned before. If I can get low enough down here to demonstrate, if you can see that gap there, and it's still there even when you swap out the carapace, there is a gap here between the top lip and the carapace itself, which doesn't want to go away. You can squeeze it down, but it just bounces back. So yeah, it's got some minor QC issues here. Yes, the articulation is fantastic, screen accuracy is there, and yes, it's a groundbreaking figure. And I'll put it out there, this is head and shoulders the best 1/6 scale Xenomorph out there, and also the best 1/6 scale Xenomorph that Hot Toys have ever produced. There's no doubt about it. However, it's not perfect, and there are some issues here. And as we know, if a figure has issues, that means it doesn't score a 10. And my heart wants to give this a 10 because I so love it, but my head is telling me I can't do that because there are a handful of issues here, and some big ones that are going to stop this from scoring a 10. So what's it going to get? Well, I'm probably going to give this a 9. Maybe a 9.5 on a good day, but unfortunately no, it's only going to walk away with a 9, and that is down to those issues that we've just talked about. But what are your thoughts on this figure? Have you got it on pre-order? Has it arrived already? Are you experiencing some of the issues that I'm experiencing with this figure? If so, please drop a comment in the comment section below. If you're not experiencing them, please drop a comment in the comment section below. I'd be fascinated to hear your take on this particular piece from Hot Toys. So that about wraps it up for this review, folks. What have we got coming up on the channel? Well, plenty more reviews of Hot Toys figures, and also in art, Susu toys, present toys, caustic plastic, Exo 6. The list goes on. So yeah, plenty more reviews coming up on the channel, plenty more previews, plenty more showcases, plenty more retro reviews, episodes of Grail or Fail. So as I mentioned at the top there, be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell notification icon so you're not missing any of the good stuff. And I suppose all that remains for me to say is, from myself and from Hot Toys Take on the Scorched Xenomorph, a massive thank you for watching as always. Take care of yourselves, and until next time on the channel, happy collecting, and it's over to the showcase.